just talk.
Yeah.
Hello. My name is Christina Sander, and I come from Sweden and represent a newly started organization called BARO. We consist of relatives to people who use drugs. Sweden has the second highest number of drug-related deaths in Europe, next to Estonia. We all agree that we need to act now. We call for an end to the war on drugs, which now have failed our family members for 30 years, and instead embrace politics that support and preserve human rights. People who use drugs should not be criminalized and should be treated with compassion and respect. And for that, BARO calls for and supports 7 key beliefs. Families as partners in finding solutions. Support, don't punish. Decriminalize possession of illicit substances. Saving life through harm reduction. Redefine recovery. Ending the harm caused by bad drug policy. Know the drug, minimize the risk, and bereavement support. And that is something we have borrowed from Mom Stop the Harm in Canada, and translate a little bit to and change the text a little for pass in Sweden. And we have a good connection with Sweden Drug Users Union and can guide our family members who take drugs to them and have a good, samarbete, connection, and talk to them. And if you want to see the 7 key beliefs, you can go in and read it on English on Mom Stop the Harm sites. And we should also have a homepage soon. Thanks for me.
Thank you, Christina. And you will have a small token of appreciation.
Thanks.
Thank you
for inviting me.
Yes, yes. Okay, now we will move on to Niklas Eklund. Maybe Niklas Eklund is here now. There is Niklas Eklund. He's from the Swedish Drug Users Union.
No, Stockholm Drug Users Union.
Stockholm Drug Users Union.
Hi, and thanks for the organizers to even let drug users to come into the fine dining rooms. A short story about the situation in Sweden. There is one drug users union. It's in Stockholm. We have a small harm reduction center. We started as an organization for people who wanted to get into OST, because that was very hard. You saw here what the criteria was in Norway. We had the same criteria, plus you had to have 5 overdoses where you were sent into hospitals before you even could apply for it. That changed a couple of years ago. Still, it is against the law in Sweden to buy syringes and needles. If you buy it over the internet, you will get €1,000 in fine. So the only NGO who gives it out is us. And we don't have that much of a problem with the laws. Comes and goes. The same thing with, we have a small office in the slaughterhouse area where we actually have needle exchange. We help people into treatments, naloxone training, physical training for those who want that, massage, whatever. We have a special group for girls who have been in the situation of violence in different ways of violence in the drug community with their husbands or whatever. We even done an international survey which is published in Germany, I think, about how to buy drugs safe. Okay. when I started using drugs, we were laughing at Norway. Everything here was 15 times more expensive. You could make a fortune by driving over from Sweden and sell drugs here, and the punishment here were at least 3 times higher than in Sweden. It has changed. It has changed. The situation in Sweden at the moment is going in the wrong direction. The police and the politicians are blaming drugs for everything. I mean, the shootings, the gangs, the organized crimes, everything is because of hashish. It's the hashish market who is stuck in all of these problems. And even the high death rates. Sweden is the second country in Europe by a bit over 1,000 dead a year. It's more than 3 times than you have in Norway. How come? It's still very hard to get OST treatment anywhere in Sweden except from Skåne, which is the south part, where you can actually get it in 5 days. If you live in the north part of Sweden, it is between 2 and 4 years waiting list. And you can't move from there down to the south and ask for treatment there, because you have to be written there for at least 6 months. So that is the thing. And believe it or not, the one who decides if you're going to get OST treatment is a social worker who has none whatsoever training. She is the one who's going to decide if you should go, if we should give up the possibility to get you drug-free or send you for 12-step treatment or something else. That means that it's some communities are very hard to get it. In Stockholm, it's a little bit easier. In Stockholm, we have 6 months waiting list. In the north part of Sweden, it's 4 years. So why people die is they're waiting to get into treatment. That's basically what to say. I could go on for hours, but he says 30 seconds, so thanks for me.
Thank you so much, Niklas. That was very interesting. I believe that actually in Norway, that's just my assumption, that we would not be able to have these debates on the drug policy reform that we're having now if we didn't first have a reform that we had in 2004, where the Norwegian drug treatment was moved from municipalities or counties to specialized health treatment, became part of the hospital system. I think that's vital, and that never happened in Sweden. So, for the next speaker,